Hey y'all, it's your Missniecytv, and I'm here to do a review for Zatima Season 4 episode. The episode picks up where it left off, and it looks like Repo was shooting in Fatima's direction, and he lets off the shot, and then Zach runs over there to see if it's Fatima. And he gets over there, and Fatima's laying out on the floor. He's frantic, he's panicking. He's like, Zach is like, where did you shoot you? Fatima's like, you didn't shoot me anywhere. I slipped and I fell. Zach is like, well, I have to sit you up. So he tries to sit her up. And she's like, ow, that hurts. He tells Angela to call the ambulance, and when she calls the ambulance, she tells him that Fatima's been shot. I understand why she did that, so that they could get there quicker, but don't be lying. Fatima's talking about her stomach hurts. Angela's like, she's cramping. Zach is so frantic and like, just breathe, it's gonna be okay. So it's the first thought that comes to his head, and he's like, I'm gonna unalive that man. Fatima's like, no, you can't do that, don't do that. Then Jeremiah comes out of nowhere, and he's like, I'm so sorry, Fatima, I hope you and the baby are okay. And Zach is like, you know what, get out of here. And everybody else get out too. And that's when the ambulance shows up, and they come in, and they're like, I heard there was a shooting victim. There was like, she hasn't been shot, but she is pregnant, and I think she's in a lot of pain, so they rush over there to her. While the EMS are over there dealing with Fatima, Connie's over there reprimanding Jeremiah, saying that you're the reason that Fatima and the baby almost got hurt. You gotta calm down and stop what you're doing. Linda comes in out of nowhere, like, that's him. He knows exactly what happened to my friend, and Tony had the same idea I had. So when did y'all become friends again? Let me know. The officer that came is the same person that helped Zach in jail, who also happens to be Nate's friend. So he explains the whole story about how Jeremiah stole something from Big Repo, and Big Repo came back to get it, and he brought all this drama to Zach. So the officer checks Jeremiah's pockets, and he picks out the chain that Jeremiah stole from Big Repo, and he's like, you know what, I actually have to take you down. Zach is like, that's his best bet, because if I see him again, it's on sight. Fatima finally gets brought out on the stretcher, and she's telling Zach that she's scared and she doesn't know what to do. Zach is like, you know what, I'm coming. He takes off his shirt. He tells Angela to stay around and clean up the house for him, and Angela's like, of course, I got it. Then we see Bryce is the only one that sticks around and talk to Angela, but he only did that to see if he could get back in Angela's good graces. He has the nerve to ask Angela, do you want me to stay around for protection? You know, you can't really protect yourself, Bryce. You can't protect a fly if a fly was getting hit by a fly swatter. What are you talking? Bryce gets offended. He's like, so you're saying I can't protect you? Angela's like, no, I'm not saying that, but I also don't need you here either. Bryce, that's exactly what she's saying. She just did not. Then we see Fatima at the hospital, and the doctor's talking to her. She's basically like, you passed out because of stress, and you need to be as stress-free as possible, because if you don't, it could cause harm to you and the baby, and we don't need that. Zach is like, I'm going to try to keep her as stress-free as possible. Fatima's like, yeah, don't try to stress me out while not trying to stress me out, because you know you can do that, right? Zach is like, no, I won't. Zach is talking to Fatima. He's basically telling her that he really wants to hurt Jeremiah and end him and all this other stuff, and Fatima's like, you can't do that because you have a child to think about now, and you throwing that away for something that's so senseless is not cool. Fatima's like, I understand if you don't want to forgive Jeremiah and never talk to him again, because he's the reason that me and the baby could have possibly passed away tonight. And Zach is like, I will be getting you some protection, though. Fatima's like, what are you talking about? I have a gun and I can use it. Zach is like, that's not what I'm talking about. He's like, I'm gonna get you a bodyguard. Fatima's like, you're crazy. I can't have a bodyguard at work. Zach is like, that's the only way I'm gonna ensure that you're safe at all times. Fatina's like, you're the only protection that I need, and I need Zach you. Gets a text from Nate saying that him, Tony, and Belinda are downstairs to see Fatima. Belinda has the nerve to call Angela and tell Angela that the situation with Fatima scared her, and she doesn't want to lose Fatima, and the thought of losing Fatima scared her, and she wanted to try to be friends with her again. Like, girl, you've crossed Fatima more than once. Why do you think she will want to be friends with you after this? And the doctor said that she can't be stressed, and you're the main one that Angela has a nerve to tell Belinda that this might be a good time to show Fatima that she could be a good friend, and y'all could try to work on your friendship. Angela, I don't even know why you're trying to force this friendship. Fatima doesn't want to be friends with her. After Belinda gets off the phone with Angela, Zach tells them that Fatima's okay and the baby's okay. Her levels are high and they're elevated, so she has to stay overnight, but everything else is okay. Once Belinda leaves to go call Angela, Zach steps to Nate, and he's like, what is she doing? Nate is like, she followed me. Zach don't really want that lady there, nor does Fatima want that. Tony tries to de-escalate the situation that could possibly happen between Nate and Zach. So he's like, let's not focus on that right now. Focus on you and how you're doing and how Fatima's doing. Tony's like, how are you doing? Zach is like, I really want to Jeremiah's neck, and I never wanted to end somebody so bad. He had to be the one to tell him, you gotta let this anger go. It's gonna eat you up inside. Tony's like, you gotta do what's best for you and the baby. And Zach is like, I know, and she won't let me. Nate is like, she won't let you because she loves you, and she don't want you to throw your life away over something so stupid. Jeremiah is not worth it. Tony's like, yeah, you don't want the act of unaliving somebody to be on your conscience. It really messes you up. And Zach and Nate look at each other like, what is he talking about? It turns out that Tony ended up unaliving the boy that robbed the barbershop, and it's really messing with him and his conscience, and he doesn't know how to do it. Tony hasn't told anybody, and I think the reason he hasn't told anybody because Zach was dealing with his own issues at the time, and he didn't want to bombard them with his. I wonder if we're going to see Tony go through some PTSD with the situation and try to go to therapy or try to go downhill, because his mental is kind of messed up right now from unaliving that boy at the barbershop. So Tony gets back to the conversation at hand, and he's like, well, you could just move and change your name. Zach is like, I'm not moving, not changing my name or nothing. So Belinda comes in, and she's basically like, Angela was happy to hear the good news. She's like, how you doing, Zach? And Zach doesn't even answer her. So she's like, so I can't even ask how you doing? Tonight scared us, and I think we should just move past it and put it all behind us. Belinda, that will never happen. And Tony's like, you're trying to focus on unaliving Jeremiah right now. Belinda's like, I understand that, and I get that too. But he could also outsource it since he doesn't want to get his hands dirty. Nate is like, don't egg him on. Belinda's like, so you wouldn't want vengeance if it was me, Nate? Nate is like, no. Belinda's like, that's why you should have went back to your wife. Belinda, if that doesn't tell you about anything about Nate, he don't care about you. He don't want to be with you. You were just somebody that he could get with to get his mind off of Lori. Zach is like, I'm not going to do anything because Fatima doesn't want me to, so he gives everybody hugs and dabs. Then they leave. Zach goes back upstairs and he has a conversation with Fatima, and he's like, your parents are never going to forgive me for this. Fatima's like, that's exactly why we're not telling them. You just got on their good side, and my dad will never forgive you. Fatima's like, and by the way, my mom is still side-eyeing you. Zach is like, you know what, we're having a baby, so they gotta chill. Fatima's like, chill? I just got shot at. They're not gonna take that well. Zach is like, that's exactly what I mean. As a man, they're gonna look at me and say, why didn't you protect her? Zach is like, this is exactly why Jeremiah has to stay away forever. And Fatima's like, how you gonna do that? Zach is like, I know my way. Fatima's like, you can't do that because you're gonna end up back in jail, and I just know it. Zach is like, no, I'm not. Fatima's like, you just have to let it go. Everything's gonna be okay. Jeremiah stays his way and we stay our way, but we can't live in fear because living in fear is stressful, and anger is stressful too. Fatima's like, if Jeremiah does come back around, we'll just handle it together. But in the meantime, we just need to focus on our child. Zach is like, I'm not planning to build a great life for y'all. Fatima's like, you already have. Fatima's like, you're gonna be such a good dad, and Zach is like, I know. That's why you should just let me plan the baby shower. Fatima's like, plan the baby shower? You know nothing about baby showers. Zach is like, I got it, it's cool. Fatima's like, just make sure you run the major things by me, but you can do everything else. Zach, what do you know about planning a baby shower? Absolutely nothing. I think that he's going to enlist Angela to help him with most of this because Zach knows nothing about planning baby showers. They talk about the baby shower a little bit more, and then they talk about what Zach's going to be called because Fatima calls him Papa, and Zach is like, no, call me Daddy Zach. I'm like, no, Zach, we're not doing that. So the doctor comes in, and she's basically like, your cortisone levels were high, but that was because of stress. But if you don't keep them down, I'm going to have to put you on bed rest. Fatima's like, I can't be on bed rest, I gotta work. So once the doctor leaves, her and Zach argue about it a little bit, and Zach is like, that's the last thing you need to be worried about. Stay at home, Fatima is not on the table. Fatima's like, no, I gotta work. It's easy for you to say because you have your own schedule. Fatima's like, I was planning for maternity leave, and then she has the nerve to ask Zach for some ice cream, and Zach is like, so you're basically asking me for ice cream so I can get out your face? Fatima's like, no, I'm asking you for ice cream to see if you can actually do the test and let things go. Zach is like, you know what, I'm gonna get your ice cream. Back over at Zach and Fatima's, as Angela's cleaning up, she hears somebody walk in the house, so she turns around and it's Leslie. She's like, who the heck are you? Why are you in my girl's house? Leslie's like, I'm Fatima's friend. She asked me to check on her. She's been shaken up about the thing about with Zach and his brother, so I just wanted to check on her. Angela's like, well, she's not here and Zach's not here either. Angela's like, so she really asked you to check on her? Leslie's like, yeah, and she even gave me a key. Angela's like, what, she gave you a key for real? Angela, don't believe a word that this girl is saying. She's crazy and deranged. Leslie's like, well, I'm gonna just give her a call. Angela's like, you can't do that because she's in the hospital. Leslie's like, why? Angela's like, since y'all good friends, I'll let you talk about it with her. Leslie's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go. Leslie, that's your best bet because I think Angela will really show you those hands. Angela, I hope you're not offended by her saying that she has a key from Fatima. The only reason why she knows where the key is because it's Fatima told her. She didn't give her a key. I can see that Leslie's already gonna be a problem. This is not the first time she broke in her house, and this is the second time. Zach and Fatima really need to change her locks, but they're not gonna do it for whatever. Let me know what you guys think about the episode. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn your bell notifications. Bye!